Welcome to the No Guilt Fangirls podcast, where liking what you like is never a bad thing. Here's your host and head fangirl in charge, Patty Holiday.
Welcome to the No Guilt Fangirls podcast. I'm your host and head fangirl in charge, Patty Holiday. This is the spoiler-filled Season 6 discussion of Schitt's Creek. Schitt's Creek is in its final season, and we're so sad about it, but we're also so happy that we get this one last delicious season of our favorite show. And so we're going to talk about it. Now, if you are not ready for this, I completely understand. And may I point you in the direction of some other fun podcast episodes that you might want to go and check out. For example, we fangirled Dan Levy. If you love Schitt's Creek like we do, there is a whole discussion on him and on the series up to this point. I don't think we spoiled anything in that. Jamie, you were on that with me. Do you remember if we had any spoilers in that one? I don't think we did.
We did not.
Okay, I think we were really careful because I knew that people hadn't quite caught up to it yet. Yes, I know it was 5 seasons long, but those of us in America are very slow to these things. Don't miss Canada. Anyway, there is that one that's out there. If Disney is your thing, like it is my thing, I have a whole 4-part discussion on each Disney park at Walt Disney World. That's a lot of fun. Talks about why it's our favorite park because we love them all. Yes, each one is our favorite. Sue us. And then I am sure you can find something entertaining when it comes to the world of, Tom Hiddleston. I have a great fangirl story from my friend who went and saw him on stage on Broadway this year and how she had a meet and greet afterward with him through the stage door process. And it's fabulous. So if you want to go hear about Julia, crushing her fangirl dreams, then that one's there too. So those are some other options. If you're not ready for Schitt's Creek, scroll on back, find some really fun episodes to listen to. But today, if you're with us, welcome back. And I've got Jamie back with me again. We are going to talk all about Season 6, Episode 2, which is called The Incident. Dun, dun, dun.
I just giggle even thinking about it.
I know this was a sweet episode in a lot of ways, but it was also hilarious in a lot of ways, and we'll get to that in just a minute. But give us a quick, brief rundown as to what happened here. You got 30 seconds. Go.
Okay, so we open to the boys just kind of waking up in the morning, and dun dun dun. Their bed is wet. I'm not going to go into details as to why, but you can go ahead and guess. Hilarity ensues. And then the other big thing is that we are doing a social media takeover for the Crows on the Interflex social media platforms, which social media has its own character traits in this episode. So between those two things, we have a crossover between the social media takeover and the boys' oopsie daisy incident that is just the funniest.
Yeah. This was, from my personal perspective, as somebody who lives and breathes social media every day as part of my job, I was highly amused both by Alexis and by Maura through this entire thing. Oh, and I also got to give Ronnie a heads up because she's totally me in how she reacted to all of this. It was hilarious. But yeah, so that's what happened. Now, as you can imagine, David wetting the bed, sleep, is it enuresis? I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, but it's a real thing and it happens to adults where like you sleep and you wet the bed. He was horrified, as you can imagine, to do this not only in front of Patrick, but like in the bed with Patrick.
Yes. And in fact, he made the line right out of the gate. Can you file for divorce even before you're married? Because he just couldn't even.
No, he could not. And Patrick, of course, to his credit, he was a little confused as to what was going on, but he's like, I'll take care of this. Let me take care of this for you. And I laughed so hard when David's just so horrified. He goes and he gets in the shower and the door's between them. And Patrick's standing there. He's like, I love you. And David's like, at least one of us does. Poor David.
So one of the things, like this episode to me just totally showcased Dan Levy's talent.
Mm-hmm.
Between his one-liners and his facial expressions, like you almost have to watch it twice just to get his facial expression, because the best.
The best. Yeah, absolutely. And he says so much in what he's able to portray with these looks of horror and glances and looking down. I mean, he's a talented actor. He is a talented comedic actor. I mean, look at who he comes from. Look at his dad. But it makes sense that it runs in that family. But yeah, I have to agree with you on that. Again, remember how, like, in the first episode, how we were talking about how it feels like he's trying to shield Patrick from the warts and all of his family. I feel like we're continuing that discussion here because he kept thinking, and he kept saying, I just need to leave. I just need to go away. I will never come back. And he's basically saying, Patrick, I get it. Like, we're done. And Patrick's like, don't be silly. This is so dumb. And again, Patrick, once again, he's the rock. He's not scared. He steps in. He takes care of the incident, and life goes on. Right? It did make me laugh, though, that, like, he put a bedwetting sheet on it, and because I don't think Patrick knows how to handle things either exactly, but David was like, I don't think this is helping. You're, like, making me feel worse. But it was funny. So yeah, he's perfect-ish, that he has his moments where maybe that wasn't the best choice to make immediately, but it was an expensive mattress, as he pointed out. So
right.
All right. So now we're going to switch over to where Alexis and Moira are on social media. Alexis, in her role as publicist, is rocking it. Like, this girl was made for this job. And I love how she's like, look, I'm going to take care of this. We're going to do a social media takeover. I've got it all. You don't have to do anything. And Moira's like, but I don't think that you and I are on the same comedic level. I think maybe I should. Anyway, next thing you know, Moira takes over the social media and actually does a whole lot of tweeting.
Yes. She really takes it and runs with it.
She does. And I would love to actually have had all of those tweets come out in real life. Like, I would have been following in a heartbeat. Now, you mentioned before, Interflix on Twitter. If you guys want to follow that, they did a really nice job. One of the big issues that happened in this with Moira on social media is that she's doing a live stream. And she comes in and
with her friends.
Yes, exactly. She's got friends. That's what she's calling them. And she comes into David and Patrick's store with her live stream. And she's like, hey, look, everybody, here's my son and his hashtag fiance. And they're like, yeah, you don't have to say hashtag if you're just anyway, it was so cute. She puts the phone down and has a very personal discussion with them. And that's where we discover that David's peeing in the bed, is not like a one-time thing, guys. Like, he has a history of this. And she talks to Patrick about it and kind of explains what happens. David storms out because he's still so highly embarrassed. He storms out and leaves. But she has a discussion with Patrick and kind of explains that this only ever happens when David's really excited about something. So we assume that he's really excited about the wedding, and that's what kind of caused him to have this, what they call an oopsie daisy. That's their family term for it, is the oopsie daisy. All right. Next thing you know, Alexis is coming in and she's like, I need to speak to you, Mom. And she's like, well, what's going on? She was like, you live streamed that entire conversation. They even gave a shout out to podcast. She was like, you basically gave a podcast of David's oopsie daisy incidents. And Moira was like, oh my gosh, we have to take it down. Now, here's what I was dying about is this is just perfect Moira, Alexis, like life. Alexis admits, she's like, if I wasn't your publicist, I would find this much more entertaining, but I also am finding it entertaining even as your publicist. But on top of that, they keep talking about taking it down. They don't take it down. Jamie, they left it up.
I know. And they're talking, and then they have to bring in Patrick to let Patrick in on this. And Patrick keeps pointing out, hey, It's still up.
Right. They're having this conversation at the cafe. And I think 3 or 4 times in that conversation, he's like, but it's still up, right? You haven't taken it down there. They're like, yeah. We'll take it down. We'll take it down. And then they go on doing their thing and they're eating and whatever. He's like, but it's still up. Would you please take it down? And
And they all take a vow. They vow each other that David could never know about this.
Yes. And the good news is that David's not into social media. So, and I also had this moment of thought. I was like, surely one of his friends will, from back in the day, one of his old friends from back in the day will, send it to him or contact him with it. That was my fear. But then I realized that those people are gone. Like they left David way back when,
Right.
So I'm guessing that's not going to be the case. And then of course, at the very end, we get Ronnie. Ronnie steps up and she sends him the link. And I was like, Ronnie, no.
Ronnie in from nowhere.
But Ronnie likes a little drama. Like she pretends to stay out of it, but Ronnie likes a little drama. And she saw this as drama with a capital D.
Yes.
So she did text it to David, but Patrick was quick and pulled the phone away and took care of it. So as we ended this episode, David still doesn't know that it was a live stream situation and that it went out across the air. Now, we did not talk about the big thing with Stevie.
That's right.
There was a whole scene going on where Mr. Rose and Roland have found another hotel to buy. And they bring Stevie in on this whole thing. And Stevie is horrified, confused. This is not what she wants. And she finally has to come clean to that aspect. She has to explain to them, I don't think that's what I can do right now. And my heart was breaking a little bit for Johnny because he was so excited about it. And then he was like, oh, she doesn't want this. She wants something else.
Yeah. And I guess we shame on us. We kind of forgot to talk about it in, the last podcast, that was a big foreshadowing moment. In episode 1 was Stevie talking about, what else is out there? What, Cabaret has kind of opened her eyes to what else she wants to do in this world. And, I kind of like you mentioned in the first episode as well, I haven't always been 100% team Stevie. She's got great one-liners and all that, but she's, not the top of my character list. But I felt like it was kind of unfair to Johnny because, the whole series, she's been like, you're going to leave me. I need you. You're going to leave me. You know what I mean? And now all of a sudden she's done a complete about face.
She's the one doing the leaving.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I don't think she took that into account, but I think that also kind of tells you the character of Johnny. He is used to carrying so much of the weight of his family, and Stevie is now part of the family.
Right.
That he takes it in stride and he wishes her well. And he tells her, I don't want you to leave. And I do hope you'll come back, but I also hope you find what you're looking for. Cause he's just a great dad. He's just such a great dad. So, that's where that one ended. And like you said, we knew something was up with Stevie. We knew there was going to be some big changes for her. We didn't know what that was going to look like just yet, but now we're starting to see where this might be leading. And so Stevie's going to have her adventure here shortly. The way this ended up, we have David and Patrick still hanging in there. Things are still okay there, even though a horrifying incident happened. We're still good. We have Moira just leaning into the crows. She is doing the social media thing. Alexis is right there helping her. Also, Alexis is sticking around for this other month. She mentions Ted's upset. I can't remember if it was this episode or the one before, but anyway, at the end, she's like, Ted's upset that I'll be a month late, but he also said he hasn't, like, what was it, the lizards? Like he hasn't lizard proofed the house yet. Yeah. So it's probably a good thing I'm not there. And I'm like, yeah, I don't need to see Alexis screaming about lizards the entire time. So that probably is a good thing. And then we have Stevie, looking to make this change. Now, we have seen Roland in both episodes, and we saw a glimpse of Twyla and the Jazzagals and Ronnie in this one. but they haven't yet, opened it up yet. We haven't seen like the rest of the characters. I'm starting to wonder if, because we're wrapping up and because there's so much to wrap up with our, core Rose family, what this season's going to look like for the rest of the town of Schitt's Creek. Like, are we not going to see a lot of Ray? Are we not going to see a lot of Ronnie? I kind of feel like that could be the case because we have so much to do here. But I can't wait for Ray to slap down his business card that says he's also a wedding planner, because he is one, right?
100%. 100%.
So we'll see what happens there. But that is how we ended up with episode 2, which I actually think I liked it more than episode 1. I mean, I've liked both of them. I have no complaints about anything so far. I've been laughing. I even have my husband watching with me, which he's never been a Schitt's Creek fan, but he's sitting down and laughing his booty off. So it's been great.
We had to rewind a few times because my husband was laughing so hard that we couldn't actually hear the show. So we had to rewind.
We have to watch it with captions on because we're laughing so hard. I'm like, oh my gosh, did they just say that? Yes, they said that. So it's been great. Not too late, guys. Jump on in. I have a link in show notes to give you some of our favorite quotes, and then also to give you ways to watch Schitt's Creek if you are looking to get on board with us and to watch season 6. We'll be back next week. Oh, please watch it. It's worth it. This show is just chef's kiss. Like, it's just so good. So come back next week. We're going to have another recap episode for you. Jamie's going to join me. She's going to be here all season long. Right, Jamie?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'm so excited to talk to you every week. All right. Anything that you want to leave us with before we sign off today?
No, I mean, this season is just giving us what we've seen all along. It just keeps getting better. So I'm excited to see where we go.
All right, guys. Well, thanks for fangirling Schitt's Creek with us today, and we'll see you again real soon. Thanks, Jamie.
Thank you. Bye.